Hey, GW coming to you live on this Thursday night. Hey, listen, I just got done watching Three from Hell, and I know I've been propping it for I don't know how long. And I've got to tell you guys all about this thing. First of all, you know, there's a couple things that critics are going to find wrong, or fans of, you know, people in general are going to nitpick this movie apart, especially the beginning. I told you guys some reviews back that Sid Haig's health has not been great. He was only in for a handful of scenes, and I'm going to give you a minor spoiler. Because his health was in such bad condition, his character, Rob was forced to rewrite the script, and his character was put to death. They acknowledge him. In the third act, there is a flashback to him, and it's kind of like an acknowledgement. Some people are going to say the movie's going to suck or they won't watch it because he's not in it. I got to tell you, though, Rob Zombie alum Richard Brake does a hell of a good job as Foxy Coltrane. You got to check him out. He is cool, and I wish to God that the next movie Rob makes is about Foxy. I really dig him. Now, those are the only other nitpicky thing that people are going to pick out of it is in the end of Devil's Rejects, all three of those characters, Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, and Sherry Moon Zombie, their characters died in a police shootout. There is no real explanation on how they survived, but it's a movie. You throw caution to the wind and say, let's ride with it. If you sit here and dwell on it, the movie is not going to be fun and it's not going to be for you. So, with that in mind, there is a lot of fun things to like in this movie. First of all, this is a different tone of a movie. As you know, the first one, House of a Thousand Corpses, was your serious horror film. The second one, Devil's Rejects, was sort of like a Badlands on the road. This one takes elements from both, combines them, and adds the Black Satan's Mexican gang in there. Luchador gang, I should say. And it culminates into what reminds you of a sort of bloody shootout, Old West style, or one of those 80s action set pieces that's set in an old Western town, and it is bloody wonderful. I'm telling you straight up. The one thing that I do like about this film, other than everything, was the fact that it has a couple of cameos you really have to watch. First of all, Jeff Daniel Phillips plays the sleazy warden. He's actually excellent, and you really want to punch him. The second thing is that famous horror actress Dee Wallace is in there as a hard-nosed prison guard that gets what she deserves, in my opinion. It's pretty sweet. And they made Bat Baby a little bit batty, to tell you the truth. But this film does take a time jump, so I don't want anybody to get confused. After the intro, you see an event that kicks off the the third act of the film. I'm not going to go into it, but it's on a found piece of footage, and basically kicks off the third half of the movie. There is probably not going to be any more of these. There's no real direction for these characters to go. So, my wife asked me when we were watching it, do you think they're going to kill them off? And in the middle of the movie, you really don't know the answer. But then I thought, you know what? If Rob killed off all these characters, the three characters, first of all, the audience would erupt. Secondly, it would make no sense from a commercial standpoint to work two films on this and have this third film ruined by the killers that you so, that you so love being cut down in a hail of gunfire or stabbing. The climax of the film, like I said, is pulled right out of an 80s set piece action film. And it actually has Bill Moseley's character going one-on-one with one of the Black Satans in a, machete duel. And it's pretty cool. It also has probably the most gore of the three. I didn't watch the making of it yet, but I assume that some of these things will be addressed in the making. The two, nitpicky things I mentioned at the beginning. The one other thing that's pretty neat is that if you watch Baby's character, in the beginning of the movie, she is, or the first half of the movie, I should say, she is dressed up as a cop. Later on in the film, she plays an Indian, and it's almost a reference to the Village People. I called that when I first saw the trailer. I'm like, I wonder if they're doing this, retrospective with Baby, trying to get people back to remember it. And the third thing that is interesting, if you did watch the two films, in Devil's Rejects, every time that they kick back to relax and have a party, that trouble starts for the killers. Well, same here. This film was interesting because Richard Brake brings a whole new attitude to the killer. He's like your more southern drawish, backwoods style, person. And he likes to shoot people with shotguns, I'm not going to lie. And he actually fits in quite nicely. Like I said at the beginning of this review, I wish there was another movie based around Foxy. And I had my doubts. I wondered if Richard Brake could actually carry the mantle left by Sid Haig. But comes out he does, and he is fun to watch. The end of the film leaves you pretty much not only exhausted, but sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Relieved that your favorite characters were not seriously in grave danger in Filmland. That being said, I really enjoyed the film. I didn't know what to make of it when I heard it was limited release, and I thought, oh great, Rob Zombie's going to turn this out, it's going to be garbage. And then I read the reviews, and a lot of people loved it, a lot of people hated it, based on the fact that Sid Haig wasn't in it. That is one of the drawbacks of the film, as I mentioned twice. The major plus, though, the film has going for it, it is the longest of the three. It runs just underneath 2 hours, and it's fun to watch, especially if you're into it. And the chemistry that's played off these characters is amazing. There's also references, lines, in the film that harken you back to the other two. So it's pretty cool. Now, I know people are going to probably go to Amazon. You guys are going to go to Amazon and you're going to order it. But I told one of my buddies at work, I didn't do it. But if you go to Walmart, they have the limited edition DVD or Blu-ray with a Disco Sucks t-shirt on it that Foxy wears. As you can see, I did not get that. I got the Fright Rags deal, 3 from Hell. And I figured it was pretty much a done deal. 3 from Hell, like I said, I've been propping for a couple months. I could not wait to see it, and it was worth the wait. And believe it or not, Devil's Rejects premiered yesterday, 15 years ago. If you guys can believe that. At least that's what IMDb said. Now, Rob, like I said, gave no reason for the killers to survive. But like I said, throw that concern right out the window when you watch this. And when you watch it, there's a line that Foxy says about a movie called Desperate Hours with Mickey Rourke, shot back in the 80s, early 90s. The home invasion scene pretty much pays a tribute to that and takes it much more terrifyingly further. And like I said, the gore was amazing. The killing was amazing. It was just, from top to bottom, an all-time top horror film. And I cannot stress enough that if you're going to go out with a bang on this, go out the way this film did. Now, you're going to watch this movie, and at the end of the movie, you're going to notice something in the final few seconds of the movie. There's a match being lit. And clearly, it's a CGI-generated match. I don't know what happened, but again, that's something that people are going to nitpick. But you know what? Throw that care right out the window. It was worth the wait, and this is definitely a horror film that's not for the squeamish, but for fans of the other two films. I think you'll find everything that you want, and you'll have a delight watching these characters just interact. The one thing, though, too, being that it is 15 years from the previous sequel, you can definitely tell age is starting to set in. But I'm glad, that these characters or these actors and actresses, Sherry Moon Zombie, Richard Brake, and Bill Moseley, I'm glad that they have fun playing in the role, because these roles never get old. And I know some people are right now looking at me and they're saying, hey, Greg, you support this, you condone this. No, I just love these characters in a horror film. That's all I like. So, Three from Hell, let's capitalize on the summary of it, and then we'll call it a day. In case you guys don't know what happens in it, is that at the end of Devil's Rejects, as I said previously, that the three characters are gunned down. Now they survive. They are all living in incarceration. Captain Spaulding gets put to death. There is a prison break and a jump to Mexico where they tangle with the Black Satans. That's basically the movie, and I'm not going to give away any spoilers or any type of, real definite answer. Now, I said a minute ago that all three of these characters live and filmed them. That doesn't mean that I'm going to give you the ending. What that means is that you could put on all three of these movies, watch them, and realize your characters are on DVD. They're not going anywhere. They're not in mortal danger. That's what I said. But like I said, there's a lot of cool killings, and you get to see Baby shoot a bow and arrow, which is pretty neat, especially dressed up like an Indian. It harkens back, like I said a minute ago, to the Village People. You get to see Otis, and if you know anything about Otis's character, he keeps his deadly trademark signature killings, if you know what I'm saying. And like I said, Foxy, he just one of them down-home dudes. He likes to shoot people with shotguns. But he's also one of those guys that you feel like you could get to know if you didn't know his other side. So the whole movie, I'm giving 5 stars. 5 out of 5. And I'm sorry that, I'm just a little bit upset that Rob made us wait for this 15 years. But you know what? I saw The Devil's Rejects in the theater with my wife. It didn't seem that long ago. So these are films that pretty much, sum up a horror genre. And it's going to be interesting to see what Rob comes up with next. I heard he's working on a hockey movie. And he was doing something with The Blob, but that fell apart. So it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with next. And I can't wait to see it. But if you're looking for the definite answer, if you watch all three of these movies in one night, they make sense. But like I told you a second ago, there is a time jump in the movie. So it goes from the late 70s. And the other cool thing is that in the beginning of the movie, if you're a fan of true crime and you studied the Manson family sort of deal, it takes homage from that, pulls from that. So you get that little deal. And it shoots into the 80s. Because in one of the scenes you see a picture of Ronald Reagan sitting there, and like I said, 2 thumbs up. And if if you're gonna have people go out, this is how you go out. 3 from Hell, definitely worth the wait. And Rob, thank you for the movies. So I hope I gave you an answer, and I'm sorry if you guys got a little tired of me propping the movie. I finally took time out to watch the thing, and I was really glad that I did. 3 from Hell. Top 10 horror movie so far of 2019. This weekend, stay tuned for my Crawl review. And Midsommar, too. That's coming, too. All right, GW, peace. Hit that like button if you checked out the movie and agree with what I said.